Welcome back to California Life Podcast. Today, guys, I am very happy and excited to present to you my good friend and one of the best Hollywood journalists. She's coming from Europe. She's the most classy journalist in Hollywood. Please meet Virag Vida. Hi, Virag.
Hi, nice to meet you guys.
Hi, thank you for coming to the show today. I know you are very, very busy. You've been all over all the top events in Hollywood. How are these events and your life treating you in LA?
How is it treating me?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this life, as you mentioned, is real. It's a really busy life, and it's very hectic. So
Yeah.
sometimes I don't know what's going on in the next day. But honestly, it's very enjoyable, and we got all the glamour that Hollywood has. So it's a very interesting occupation.
It definitely is. I've been working in this field, in this industry for quite a bit, and it has its positive sides. It has its different sides, and luckily we all have choice. Um, Virag, I wanted to, start our little conversation. What made you interested to become a journalist? Why you didn't decide to become maybe an artist or maybe a film director or maybe an actress? You decided to go into journalism and you mastered the skill, but why that field?
Yeah, well, it's you are right and you are not right in one thing because when I was a child, I was very much interested in art and I had art skills. I was drawing, I was dancing. I wasn't really good at singing. I never liked that. I mean, I was in a children corps, but it's never been my field. But journalism was always on my table. It's when I was like only 4 years old. I already made a family magazine. I
Oh,
just started to write, and it was obviously just it wasn't a real writing. But when I grown, I still continue the habit. So when I really started to write and learn how to write and read in school, I edited and established the family magazine, and we have a extended family, so I was writing about aunts and uncles, what are they doing, and in a funny way, in rhymes. And then I cut things from my Barbie dolls boxes and I made my first female magazines through, I just a fashion magazine like Marie Claire now, and I'm working for Marie Claire now. It's funny. And so it was fun in the beginning for me, and then life is going on and I went to the university. I learned I studied literature and writing and also art history, and next to it I was a dancer. So I also learned how to be on stage, because writing is a very introverted thing, but dancing is a very extroverted thing. So I combine the two things. So no, that's why it's not a big problem for me to be on red carpets in LA, because I asking the question as a writer and or as a thinker, but I also have to be present myself as a dancer. So I have to have the body posture and everything. So somehow it just happened, and I not really planned, and I not really lead my life to this way, but it just everything what I experienced in life is add together, and I became a journalist and a reporter on the red carpet.
right, right. You've mentioned that you're a dancer, and I know that you've done really well for your dancing career, and you've been also very entrepreneurial. You had your own dancing team. You've been doing shows. Would you please share with us, with our viewers, about this journey and what made you decide to get into that business? Not just little performances, but you had it organized into a business.
Yeah, it's true. So yeah, dancing is start very early age in my life too. So I was 3.5 years old, man. My parents thought that I am a girl. I need to, learn how to dance, and it's just gonna be for a girl. It's just gonna give some more confidence and a nice body posture and things like that. And but they never thought that it's gonna continue till my 30s. And so from dancing, it was just a little ballet class. But the masters, ballet masters, also was on a track to learning something new. So she became a rhythmic gymnastic trainer, and we turned into slowly rhythmic gymnasts. So we were one of the newest team in my region in Hungary who started to learn rhythmic gymnastics. So we became rhythmic gymnasts. And actually, it went really well for the whole team. And we became national, and we competed on national levels. Once I also, when I was like 16, I think, I also been in a national team. I represented Hungary in a national team in one international competition in Germany, in Bremen. And we also competed all behind the iron curtain. We had a very, very vibrant gymnastic life. So I was a gymnast, and I did it in a very professional way. We had like 6 trainings in a week, and every day we had different type of trainings. And on the Saturday morning training was 4 hours. So we did it in a really, really high level. And the problem is with the rhythmic gymnastics that you get old very fast. So we have to finish it in early 20s or maybe in 18s. And I think I finished it 19 years old. And when you have a life and it's full with you know sports, and you have to move your body every day, and push yourself to do more and more physical things, and then one day to the other you stop. And I had to find something else. So then I found uh, an association what called IDO. That's the international name, International Dance Organization, and they have world championships and European championships. So I was like, okay, I try myself, and let's see. I make a choreography for myself because it has rules like the rhythmic gymnastic, but it was in another way. It was different also because it's it was about that you made the rules, but it has to be artistic. It has to be stage performance. Sorry, I don't know how to mute these things.
That's
That's
okay.
okay. Is it okay? Sorry. Anyway, so we were. I started to. I made my first choreography. It was a Spanish dance thing, but it needed to include some acrobatics elements, and it worked. I got my third place on the first national competition, and they really liked my work. And then I qualified to the World Championships in Germany again. So Germany brings me luck in this field. And then I just turned into I started to train more, and I turned into a national competitor of Hungary in the IDO. And so in my category, as I was really good, it looked like. And I also made to Canada once at the World Championship in Toronto, where I became the best European dancer. So, and that was the top of my career. And also in the World Championship, I was fourth from from on the whole world, and I got a big like award and everything. So it was interesting. And after that, I decided to learn in a higher level. So I went to the dance academy in Hungary after the university and made my degree as a modern dance teacher and choreographer. And I established my own dance company, and we went all over the world. So yeah, it was a lot of organization, and I learned during the process how to organize, for example, a trip with a whole dance troupe to another different country, buying the tickets, chatting. I mean, we had to organize everything with the organizers, and apply for the next festival. I had to make the process. So it was fun, and we traveled worldwide.
Wow,
Wow.
that's impressive. That's really impressive. And you know, I'm not really surprised because you represent one of the most cultural countries in Europe, and I think it's in the whole world. You know, Austro-Hungarian Empire was the mecca of culture, of dance, of music, of cuisines, of um, etiquette, of education. So I'm not surprised.
However,
And
it's a tiny little country.
yeah, but you know, it doesn't. It's not the size; it's the quality, right? Um, so you went through all of these dancing competitions, and you've done journalism. What was your transition from Hungarian journalism into the Hollywood journalism?
So everything is connecting in my life. And because I was a dancer, and first I studied on the University of Writing and Literature and Art History, and then I made my degree in the Dance Academy, it also connected. And I didn't want to give up writing. I never gave up writing. So even I was working as a dance teacher in some schools, actually, I was still writing for the local paper, cultural articles. And then I remember, okay, the story is interesting, I guess, because I was actually a teacher in a dance school in the afternoons and a teacher in the mornings. I was a high school Hungarian literature teacher. And so it was a very busy lifetime. And I also working in a musical studio as a choreographer already. And I had a very bad headache and once, and I thought that I have a serious problem. I don't know, something. And I had to go for a checkout, a serious checkout to the hospital. And I spent a week there. And I remember, just to entertain myself, I bought a theater magazine, and that's what I was reading, because I was always very into, with the dance it came together, that I was always into the theater. And I was reading them, and I loved the critics in it. And it was my regular magazine what I was reading, and there was a advertising that you can apply for a theater critic writer competition, and it was open for everybody. And I was like, oh, maybe that's the thing. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe I'm not sick. Maybe the thing is that I'm not in the right place in my life. And maybe it was enough teaching, and it's just too much pressure and too different responsibility of what I want to take. I want to be actually make a step in the writing career, and I want to be a writer. And I remember in the hospital, started to write the article, and then the weekend I finished it at home. I was still resting, and I sent it. And shortly after, a month later, I got an email that they want to invite me for the award ceremony to Budapest. And it turned into like there were like 150 people wrote articles, theater critics, and only 10 got invited to Budapest, and I became the third one. So, and immediately the magazine invited us as a writer. So it was, for me, it was like a dream came true, because those people who I was reading, they were in the editor's office, they were the writers of the magazine, and they judged us. And they immediately sent me to a different town for a festival, and I had to write articles about the theater performance there. And they said, okay, we're gonna check that it was just the first one that you wrote well, or somebody helped you, or let's just go for a real one, and they're gonna see it. And they liked it so much that they published it on first. Not so I was the first one from the award winners who got published, and then I had an open, every door is open for me, and other magazines invited me. And because I was a dancer also, I knew about dance in a high level. They started to ask me to write dance critics, mostly because they didn't have the right person. And so I became one of the most well-known dance critic in Hungary in very shortly, in like 2 years. And I just amazed that in Budapest we have like over 50 theaters, and all the doors were open for me, and they know my name. They knew my name, and it was like surprising for me. And oh my god! And I was pretty young that time. I was like 25, and I walked in, and I was still dancing, and I looked good, and they were like surprised. They thought that, oh my god, we thought that your critics are so serious. We thought that you are an older critic. And it was just funny, and after that I moved here for a private reason to Los Angeles. I mean, I went back and forward a lot, and then I ended up here. And then they just my magazine found me, and they just asked me to write about Hollywood entertainment stuff. So that was the transition.
Wow, that's again quite impressive, but not surprising. You are extremely talented and professional. Before we transition to Hollywood, I wanted to ask, while you were interested in writing, you were studying journalism. Was there anything or anybody as a role model for you, as inspiration? Maybe books, maybe personalities, maybe I don't know, something else.
Mm. I think I had a lot. So it's not really fair to mention one names or something, because uh, I think the first one was that lady who was the main writer of that theater magazine. So she was an older writer, a very experienced, let's say this, a very experienced writer, critic, and okay, I name her. So she's Judith Chaki, and she was a role model for me in the beginning. And then I had mentors. So I had Csaba Kutsegi, who was like really supported me and give me a lot of you know extras to how to write, and amazing advices. So I'm super grateful for my mentors in Hungary, because they really taught me what is the high quality of writing. So they were never satisfied, even they liked my work, but they always tried to push me to make a better job. And so I had a high standard writing. And yeah, so they were my first role models. And then when I came to LA, it was like a magic word for me. So I just, didn't know where to turn my head, because it was everything so vibrant. And honestly, what I learned in LA, that people are very hard workers here, and they are trust themselves, so they are confident, they really believe that they can make it. And I could mention names, from the, not writers, but from the Hollywood word itself. I had a lot of, I was lucky to make many great interviews with world known stars, so real huge celebrities. And just as they, explaining and telling me their journey, that's just so fascinating. For example, Henry Winkler. I had the chance to interview Henry Winkler, and he's another generation actor, with Oscar winner actor. And he just told me about. I remember in an interview that I think he was in his 70s, and he still has to do the castings, and he's still sitting with the young actors there, and in the waiting for the casting, in the lobby or somewhere. And it's just like, I learned that, okay, you are great, you are a celebrity, but you never can be satisfied yourself. You always have to push yourself a little more and more and more. It's always a space to grow, so that's what I learned in Hollywood.
Right, right. Having experiences in Europe, in European industry, and in Hollywood, what do you think? What do you see as the main difference between these two worlds?
I would say the biggest difference is that, um, I try to express myself correctly, because I see that in Hollywood it's more like it calls film industry, and it is more like industry. And in Europe it's still more like an artistic form to making films. And so it's a big difference for me, because I feel that this world in Hollywood, they really know what they're doing, very professionals, but everything is like, and artistic also, but the balance is different. So it's more like an industry, a mechanical system, that no, I really can't tell the script how is it working. Like, okay, let's pitch a script, and then if it's pitched, then okay, we have to find the finance for it, and then we start casting for the project, and we build up the whole thing. And when it's done, when the whole thing is done, they, and the same professional way, they building up the marketing strategy for the film, how to, you know. For example, the studios, and I see it from the journalist side that they are inviting me for all of these events, and I see the similarity of the events as they promote the film, as they want the media know about it. They make the Q&As, make the special screenings, making the party. They let us meet and talk with the stars, learn, and filmmakers learn more about the background. And in Europe, I think it's more like, okay, I have an artistic idea, and then there are not as much concept for it, how to do it, I mean, okay, let's try this finance, that finance, and obviously in a professional way, that yes, but it's still behind the Hollywood industry. That's how I see.
Right. You just mentioned that you're getting so much of the insights from inside as a journalist, and you've been doing writing, which is some sort of part of marketing for the companies, for the films, for the celebrities. Um, what I wanted to ask is, how do you see and what is your position regarding the growing um, influence and power of social media? Because right now anybody could go on Instagram or YouTube or uh, you name it and starts writing something, and they have no background in writing and journalism. They have no education. um, how do you as a professional see this, and what is your, I want to say, judgment?
Hmm. You already answered part of the question, because my main problem is that there are no education sometimes behind those articles, or those, I don't know, video recording things, or social media posts or something. But it's a weird thing, because I also want to give credits for those amateurs who are really digged in and they know what they are talking about. So I don't want to generalize, and I don't want to judge them in the same way, because I see this and I see that too. And yeah, also from our side, we have to learn this. So we couldn't just stop the word growing and changing. So as a journalist, actually, I had a little bit of a conversation, let's say that, not argument, with a discussion with my colleagues in Critic Choice a couple of years ago, because it was about that, should we make the selfies with the world stars when we are on the events, and they are okay with it, so it's fine. But some of my colleagues says, no, we are not influencers, we have to just be professional, we are just talking to them and writing the interviews, but it's actually still an exclusive access for us, because not many people can, even the influencers, they can't make these really high standard exclusive interviews with the stars. But I told them that, listen guys, it's the whole journalism changed, and we have to promote ourselves and our work. So I think it's better if we have all of this access, we're making some advertising for it, and my magazine started to ask for that. So if I just write an article, they, before the article comes out, they try to ask me to send some pictures from the event, or just a little bit of like, hey guys, this is it, I am here, and just check the interview later on our site. So also the magazines has social media platforms. So that's why we need to, we couldn't we couldn't ignore that we have to be on social media too. So I that's a very difficult question for us, and it gives a headache for the journalist. And yeah, influencer are just they doing what they need to do, and if they are successful with it, we have to compete with them too. That's how I feel.
You know what I wanted to, while listening to you, I had an idea in my head. They call themselves influencers, but you are the person who can pick up the phone, make a call, and the celebrities would respond. So you're actually able to influence. You're able to make a difference. I doubted that influencers can just pick up the phone and their call will get a response.
Yeah, but the problem is that some of the influencers, because of the clickbait things, they are making fake news, and they are making news from everything. So we have rules, and we don't want to share fake news. We don't want to embarrass stars, even if it's on an event, a star, I don't know, make a bad mistake, something, or goes, eating, and something goes on the dress or something. We're not going to. We are appreciate them enough that we're not going to share that pictures. Oh my God, and that's what the influencers are doing. And but unfortunately, a lot of people are more interested in that. Oh my God, that star has a stain on the clothes, and somebody took a picture of it. That's human curiosity, and it's human nature. But uh, that's why it's a little difficult for us, that how can we make the clickbait. However, on the press conferences, on the interviews, we have regulations, we have rules. We couldn't ask certain type of question. We have to sign papers sometimes that we're not going to ask about the private life. So that's how it's difficult. So we try our best and try to make it as interesting for the public as we can. For example, this is my new thing. If I am on a press conference or we are arriving somewhere, I always make a short video of the arrival of the stars, because it's more like a backstage, it's behind the scene thing, and it's allowed, and it's not hurt the star, that he's just like, something like that. And it's still a little bit more, private. And this is how I try to publicize my article. And then maybe because they see it on my Instagram, or the Mary Claire's Instagram, or other outlets Instagram, maybe that's why they're gonna read the article.
Right, that's a good point. I wanted to mention to you this question. Back in the days, especially in Europe, we are all reading books. It's classy. It's I call it high end. But now the world goes more and more and more towards not even just video, but short form of video, reels. You go on TikTok or Instagram. How do you, as a professional, when you have so much knowledge, you meet these people, you tell the story, and it's not a two-line story, it's a big article. How do you deal with this thing that is happening in the world, this fast food culture in reading and even watching?
Yeah, yeah, it is a big problem, I guess, because we live in a world that we have way too much informations. I mean, it's like coming to a face, even if we don't want to. We just open the phone, and it's just like jump up onto a face. So hard question. I not really know the solution, you know, but I think I seen something interesting, and that's, can I use it as a sample? I have a 7 years old daughter, and she born to this culture basically. And when she was like 4, she already started to play on the iPhones and the iPods, and she's watching things. She can, I mean, I control it as much as I can for YouTube Kids, and for the time what she can do it. But still, she lives in this world, and I think it would be a mistake as a parent to take her away this, because this is the world now, so she has to learn about it. She couldn't be behind. And but the thing is, it happened actually just yesterday, that she know about Minecraft. They have a kids version of Minecraft, and I find it pretty good, because it's like a 3D like building system. So it's good for the brain to see, build in 3D. And then I took, because it was end of screen time, I took it away, and I said, why don't you play with your something? And she said, I want to play with Lego. And she was sitting there, and she said, mommy, Lego is just like Minecraft, but it's better because I can touch it. So it's a new generation what goes back to something what, before it was the opposite, that, oh my God, they played with Lego, but oh, they jump on the screen. And no, she had enough. She said that it's boring to watch the Minecraft. It's better to play with the Lego in real life. And that's what I think it's going to happen in our culture too. I mean, in the adult culture, that no, everybody's a real. And if we're gonna get tired with that, and people will start to, they want something more meaningful, they want something more valuable, and they're gonna read the articles again and the books. So I think it's gonna, everybody is gonna be too fed up with all of these informations and all the videos and reels and TikToks. I didn't even download TikTok anymore. I mean, I stopped that Instagram because it's too much. You couldn't handle so many things.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. You mentioned that you were working with Critics' Choice, and during our meeting back in LA, you mentioned that story about I think the Foreign Press, right, the Golden Globes, and you explained to me why you decided to work with the Critics' Choice. Could you please share with us about this organization, about your role, and how do you foresee its development, let's say, in the next 2 years?
Yeah, so what you mentioned, yes, there was, it was in the news. So I'm not sharing gossips or anything, because the biggest magazines wrote about this scandal, that the Golden Globes had a lot of issues, like corruption issues, and racism issues, and they got a certain time to recover, and they, to change the system, uh, because even the embassies canceled them for a year, while they don't, showing some new results on these fields. So anyway, that was a time I never really felt that I want to join the Golden Globes, because I always had this feeling with them. However, a lot of people told me that, oh, you should, because you are working in Hollywood, you are a Hollywood reporter for your country, you really should, belong to one of this association. But I felt like, yeah, I'm an outsider a little bit. I'm just doing my work and that's it. But when this scandal and the suitcase, because it was also a suitcase involved, happened, um, the Hollywood Reporter itself, the big magazine, reached us reporters. I mean, not just reporters, but international correspondents who didn't join the Golden Globes. They reached us and they asked why. So we had to give our opinion for them, and they wrote an investigation. They wrote a big investigation articles about the whole case, and well, I don't know if they mentioned my name that time, but I was also told them stories what I know, and many of my colleagues who was in the same shoes what I was, and they didn't wanted to join the Golden Globes. And so in the Critic Choice, they saw this article, and they reached us out, and they asked us, like, about the 30 international journalists in Hollywood, that if we want to join the Critic Choice. And we were like, okay, that's a great solution, because we never thought about it, because the Critic Choice Association didn't have an international branch that time. And because of the whole thing, they seen that, oh, there are a bunch of journalists here who just want to be, fair, and want to do everything legal, and we don't agree with what the Golden Globes doing. I mean, actually, it's not the Golden Globes, it's the HFPA, Hollywood Foreign Press Association, what is behind the Golden Globes. And then I said, okay, I talked to some of my colleagues, and we decided that we take the invitation. And we took it, and they took us, and it was pretty amazing historical steps in Hollywood, that a big writers association, journalist association, like the Critic Choice, decided because of that to invite these 30 international journalists, and made a new international branch. They launched an international branch for because of the whole thing, and because of us, and the Hollywood Reporter actually mentioned us by name, and I was super proud of it. That's really, it's like really happening. That's a big milestone in my career. And I joined the Critic Choice Association, and since that I'm very very happy with that. And this is a very serious association with amazing, standards and values, what I was really looking for. And no, it's a great feeling to belong as for a strong, to be under a great and strong umbrella now. And I really feel that I arrived. This is where I wanted to be as a writer in Hollywood. So yeah.
How do you see your role within this organization and its development within this year, next year? Do you have any specific goals?
I have a very good connection with the headboard. So I know everybody. It's more like a family. So it's not like, oh my God, we can't talk to the CEOs or anything. No, they are hanging out with us on the events, and we had nice chats. And we also have every month we have a meeting just with the one of the CEO and all the members of the international branch, so we can discuss where we want to go, what we need, and how can we see the future, what improvement we would like to see. So, and it's really good that there are people who really listen. So it's not like a headboard what is just like, nothing is happening. No, no, we really feel that we can have the pressure, we can have the position and the power to change things in the future. So, and it's already working very very good, but we had improvements in the last 2 years either. So for example, we had better better connection with the studios. We got invited for more events because we could share through an association. We could share as a group what we need, what our outlets need, and we got more opportunities also, for example. And in the future, well, I hope we're gonna grow more. We always talking about, maybe it's a little sneak peek, or maybe it's a little inside information, but I think I can share that we are thinking to change the name of the awards, because the critic choice awards is freaking out a little bit the actors, because they always, every ceremony they always say that, oh, the critics, we scared from the critics what they say, and they awarding me now. So it's like, I think it's a good idea that we want to change the name. So we're just trying to find a new name for the award show, like, like actually the same. The Hollywood Foreign Press Association calls it Golden Globes, the gala. So it has to be something more fancy, and
Yeah,
we
we
have
could
to.
go platinum, or diamond.
Yeah, something what is more like for this era. But anyway, so that's how I see that it's a great association, and it's really growing.
Well, I'm happy to know that, because I know also quite a bit of stories related to corruption, and not about Golden Globes, but at the Emmys and some other
Mm.
stuff. Thank you. My last question would be, uh, you, with all your experience talking to filmmakers, studios, actors, actresses, and you see everything from inside, what would be your three main advice for filmmakers, whether they're behind the camera or in front of the camera, um, how to reach success in 2024, 2025?
Okay, so one is definitely about work, that just work really hard, and believe yourself, what you're doing, and make the research. So it's like your standard, what we were talking about before, your standard has to be high, like what I told about my past, that I had those mentors who really pushed me. And never be satisfied with your work, you always can be a little bit better. So that's one thing. A second thing is what we also talked about today, that you have to be seen. I mean, it's this is a new word. You couldn't be just a writer at home and don't publicize it, and don't trying to tell the world that you are already made something. So be seen, be very have high standards with your own word. And the third one, well, you have to love what you're doing, you know? I mean, if you are not, if you want to do it, your motivation has to be love. If it's not, no love behind, just you want to make it because it's like, I want to be famous. The motivation never has to be that to be famous. Um, because that's a wrong path. So because I noticed in a newer generation, everybody was wants to be too much, seen in for the word, but they have no the concept yet, but they already want to be famous. Also, I see it in my kids, so I mean my kid that and his friend and her friends that they just want to be famous. And I always tell her that be famous because you did something very good, and don't be famous just because you want to be famous. So it's the opposite thing, and you have to work hard to be famous and well known, so. And one more thing I also learned in Hollywood, that I don't want to be famous. I mean, I don't want to be as famous as the stars, because it's a difficult life. So that's what I, for the new generation, do it very cleverly. And you have to be really focused on your work, but be clever how much you share from your private life.
Right, right. Well, Virag, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with me. I am extremely grateful that I can learn from you as well. And I hope today our episode was up to your standards. You see, we don't talk about private life here.
Yes. Anyway, thank you so much. It was a really nice chat, and thank you to your curiosity of my word.
Yeah, I follow all of your posts. I think I have you in Facebook and Instagram bumped up. So whenever you publish something, I would always see it on the top. Because you are classy, you are high standard person. You are not some journalist, right? And whenever it comes from you, I know it's going to be the best or nothing. So I thank you for that, and thank you for all the not just inspiration, but also, there's a thing which gives people that spark inspiration, but there is another one which gives people discipline to keep doing it. And I luckily, thanks to all my coaches, I have it pretty strong. But when I see you, it becomes brighter. It gives me more colors. In my world, it's just gray. But with you, with all that you do, with all the classiness that you bring, it just brings a lot of colors. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for bringing high values to Hollywood and for being such a great person, professional, and a wonderful family person.
Thank you so much.